This is a question on behalf of my comedy colleague John Robbins, who Five Live listeners will know from the Ellis and John show and podcast. And he asked me to put this to you, John. He said, I was playing for Thornbury Cricket Club, a club that played host to 2 Graces for their under-15s against the touring side. I began my second spell of bowling, and the first ball was called no ball, so I moved my run-up back. But again, the second ball was called no ball, so I moved it so far back that I was delivering almost behind the wickets. A third no ball. I asked the umpire what was wrong, and he said I had failed to tell him my action. Therefore, he called it no ball. This, bearing in mind, he was 14 years old at the time. He told the umpire at the other end his action, but hadn't told the umpire when he changed ends what his action was. Was the umpire right to call him no ball?
Strictly speaking, yes, but I mean, as an umpire, you're not looking to penalise. He's not trying to gain an unfair advantage. We all forget things. The umpire could have called dead ball and just had a quiet word, really. But some umpires can be a little bit officious.
Good, I'll pass that on, because he said it's been burning at him for nearly 30 years.
Well, I hope that's answered. And one thing, by the way, you should do, by the way, if you're a seam bowler, don't always put the marker back when you're bowling low balls. Best bit of advice ever given to me by the great Richard Hadley.
Move it forward.
Move it forward.
That's right.
Just by a foot or so, and you'll have smaller steps and so on. So, there you go. Victor, lovely to see you. Why don't you fire away?
Okay, I think this is just a sort of half volley to start you off. But it's a nice question from Paul Ruston. And he says, my question for umpire Holder has been prompted by an incident in this series. The ball that broke the bottom of Ollie Pope's bat, which must have happened.
Mm-hmm.
If the piece of bat that the delivery broke off had hit the wicket and dislodged the bail, would Pope have been given out
Yes.
or not?
Yeah, out.
Even if it's just a small bit of the bat?
Because the bat is part of his equipment or person. The bat,
Okay.
the piece that flew off is just hard luck.
So even if the piece is not much bigger than a match
Doesn't
box,
matter how big it is. If
That's
it breaks
out.
a wicket, and but there must be an appeal.
Yeah.
If it breaks a wicket and there's an appeal, the umpire's got to be given.
Well, that's a good one to start with, because I thought you were going to say something like dead ball or something
not
like
at all.
that.
Not
Really?
at all. Any part of the batsman's equipment or person hits a wicket in that situation, in receiving he's out.
That's an unfortunate way to go,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
So if the helmet comes off when he's taking evasive action or something and rolls into the stumps, on your way.
Yeah, you make sure your equipment is secure.
All right, that was a good answer, because
It is.
I didn't really expect that one.
Christopher Fernley, good day to you. This happened at a match at Redbourne in Hertfordshire. The home team were batting. You did get some unlikely scenarios. When the away umpire carried a glass of water to the bowler's end, and having emptied the glass, placed it down behind the wicket, but in front of his feet. So between the umpire and the stumps, this umpire... The Redbourne batsman played a nice drive back past the bowler, who fielded excellently through at the bowler's end stumps. The batsmen were mid-wicket when the ball hurtled towards the bowler's end wicket, thrown by the bowler to run him out, and would have struck the wicket. But it was impeded by the glass and bounced harmlessly away. The batsmen made their ground, much to the annoyance of the fielding side, who claimed penalty runs. The square leg brackets disputed this and suggested dead ball, but the away umpire rather sheepishly backed the call for penalty runs, which were not given. The away team went to lose by 4 runs, and they wouldn't let the issue drop. I suggested a gentleman's fine to the away umpire for a round of drinks in the bar later, but this wasn't accepted either. What should have happened?
But penalty runs for what?
I'm not sure. It wasn't anybody's...
In the first place, the away umpire who placed the glass on the ground was out of order. He's not supposed to take drinks onto the field like that, and certainly not to put a glass on the ground.
It was the away umpire as well.
Well, either umpire, whether it be home or... The umpire is not supposed to put things on the ground. So the umpire caused the problem.
So he should have bought a round of drinks in the bar
Absolutely. Or two.
Not out, and at least 2 rounds of
Yeah.
drinks
later.
there.
So not out, no penalty runs.
That is a dead ball situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
This is my question, actually. I went to a dinner at a club called Bridgetown Cricket Club, which is in Exmoor.
Right.
And it's a wonderful, tiny little ground on one side of the river, and on the other side of the boundary slopes very severely. So if you're a canny home fieldsman, you don't chase it up the hill. It either goes for 4 or it rolls back down again.
Yes.
And I think this involved, I think Harry Latchman played there once, because I think they were telling me at this dinner. Anyway, this is the scenario. The batsman hits the ball, and it goes up the hill. It doesn't go to the boundary.
Mm-hmm.
They start running. But the hill, I promise you, I've been there, it's a lovely ground, is steep. And I think Harry Latchman might have been playing, but that's by the by, and shouted, "Don't touch that ball, don't touch that ball." So it goes up the hill, and then it rolls back. Boom, 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 back to the middle, and blow me down, it hits the stumps at the batsman's end. No one else has touched that ball. So is the batsman out? Bowled?
No.
Well, what's the difference between that and an inside edge onto the stumps?
Totally different situation.
Well, how are you going to justify that?
Well, you can. I mean, the umpire's decision is final, and it'll be a farce that because the ground slopes, the batsman hits the ball legally on the field, and it rolls back onto the wicket. That's
no
not,
fielder has
that's not
touched the
hit-
ball.
That's not hit wicket. That's not hitting the. It's not hit wicket or.
It's not bold.
No, not at all.
What are the odds on that happening, by the way?
Well, the odds are slim, but it is possible on this ground that the ball could roll back down from the boundary onto the middle, hit the stumps. They were intrigued to know. They are saying, you must ask John.
What the umpire should have done before the game started was have a chat with both captains and say, look, because of the lie of the land, if the ball goes up the hill and rolls back onto the wicket, it's not out.
Okay, that would be very okay.
Yeah.
So your answer is not out, and
absolutely.
It's on the game. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you. That'll keep them happy at Bridgetown.
Sounds an amazing ground.
It is a wonderful ground. Yeah. It is wonderful.
John Sharp, hello. A batsman comes out to bat at the fall of a wicket, takes guard, ready to face the first ball, when for superstitious reasons they do a quick last-minute adjustment of the helmet, and the helmet breaks. Not wanting to bat without a helmet, he calls for a new one, but in the time it takes the new helmet to come out, 3 minutes have passed since the last batsman was out, and the fielding captain appeals for timed out. I think I know the answer to this. Should this be out or not?
Not out. The umpire, it is the safety of the batsmen, of the players on the field is the responsibility of the umpires. And you can't tell him that he's got, because the helmet didn't come out within 3 minutes, that he's got to take strike again.
Yes.
So he's got to wait until it comes out, and hopefully just add the time on at the end of play.
Doesn't timed out also stop when you walk over the boundary edge as a new batsman? Isn't that the start of? Do you get timed out from that point, or is it when you actually get to the middle?
When you've got to get to the middle and be in a position, either to take strike or for your colleague to take strike.
Yeah. And it's very rare, but it happened to Angelo Matthews, didn't it? Quite recently.
Yes.
In a test match, I suppose.
Hell of a row, wasn't it?
That caused that.
Oh, this is from Nick Simmons from Atlanta, Georgia, USA.
Oh, right.
In a scenario where a middle order batsman is batting with a number 11 and is looking to get a single to stay on strike for the next over, what would happen if he hits a single towards the boundary to keep the strike, but the fielding side kick the ball over the rope to concede 4 runs, thereby putting the number 11, and then he puts in brackets for some reason, imagine Phil Tufnell, back on strike, and potentially therefore taking, being able to take the weaker batsman, get the weaker batsman out. Is there anything in the laws to prevent such skulduggery?
Not really.
Not really.
If he does it, he does it. If he kicks the ball over the boundary, there'll be penalty runs added, because that's a deliberate act. It's penalty runs plus the four runs.
So they could penalty runs 5 runs, is that?
Yeah.
So the ball going over the boundary, having been kicked there, made 1 run. They say they've won 1. Then they kick it over the boundary.
So it is actually 5 penalty runs, because that's illegal fielding.
And plus 4.
Plus 4 is 9.
But they have achieved, nonetheless, their
Yes.
goal
Yes.
of getting the weak batsman on strike for the next over.
Yeah.
So they're allowed to do that.
That's right. Yeah, there's nothing to stop you from
Kicking the ball over the rope.
committing an
Have you ever
illegal
been?
act.
Have you ever been umpiring when that's happened?
No.
Because you could imagine it would be, it would be worthwhile a fielding captain doing that to try and get that number 11 out.
No.
Okay. Well, they'll be doing it all over the country now.
Here's an anonymous one. Men's cricket teams with a majority of beard wearers are now common.
Who's this from, Maggers, by the way? Do we know?
Cricketers and umpires.
Indeed. Hello, Keith. I hope you're well. Men's cricket teams with a majority... I like the way he stresses men's. With a majority of beard wearers are now common. A bowler, finding that the ball needs drying, tosses the ball to a fielder with a beard. The player dries the ball using his substantial beard. However, he has previously applied beard oil. Should the umpire investigate if this means the condition of the ball has been tampered with?
Yes. Because you're not supposed to dry the ball with your beard. You've got to use some sort of cloth.
Is it in the laws that you can't...
Could you blow on it,
Oh, you can blow on it. Absolutely. You can blow on it. That is not a problem. But you're not supposed to dry the ball with your beard because of what you just said. There could be an illegal substance
Something in there.
on the beard.
So that fielder would be in trouble if once you start...
Absolutely.
It could be 5 runs.
That's illegal fielding.
The same as catching it in your cap or whatever. Using your cap.
If you use your cap
5
deliberately, that's 5 penalty runs.
So the fielder there would have given away potentially 5
Correct.
5 runs. But the ball, however, remains potentially tampered with, though.
Yeah.
It's got beard oil on it.
So if in the umpire's opinion, when he does his inspection, the ball has got any...
It's changed.
It's changed. He's entitled to change it.
Who changed the ball?
Absolutely.
Right, there you go. Thank you.
Illegal fielding.
Yep.
This is from Tony Goulding, and we may have touched on it earlier. He says it's great to have John back to ask the umpire. He says it's a highlight of a test series.
Thank you.
There you are.
He says we see a lot of batsmen in the one-day format switching from right to left hand as the bowler sort of is about to deliver. Is there anything in the rules to prevent a bowler doing likewise, e.g. running up, hiding the ball to bowl a mix of right arm over and left arm around in the same over?
It is illegal. He must inform the umpire,
Okay.
who will inform the striker.
But I thought that was the answer.
Yes.
But there's nothing to stop a batsman who is right-handed switching over before the ball is even delivered. That's okay, then.
And whatever position he gets in when the ball is delivered, that's what his stance is. So if he is a right-hander batting as right-handers do traditionally, and then he switches and he becomes a left-hander.
If he does it before the ball is
If
bowled.
he does it, yes.
Oh, I see. So you've got to bring into your head what is pitching outside leg stumps.
That's
Suddenly
right.
That changes.
That's right.
But obviously, most of these guys, when they play those shots, they kind of switch while the ball has just been released, don't they? But bowlers feel a bit hard done by. That suddenly they end up bowling to a bloke who's suddenly batting left-handed and hitting you for 6 over what was cover point.
When it first started to become popular, there was a lot of discussion about it, and the lawmakers have decided that what we have now that's the law. They've changed the law.
Okay, thank you, Tony, for that.
I remember discussing that because I created a scenario in which a number 11 was going out to face somebody like Murley with everyone around the bat. You're losing the game. You're right-handed normally, but you take guard left-handed, so you are a left-handed batsman. But then at the last minute you turn to right and you can just kick every ball away because his ball will be pitching outside what is now your off stump. But it was your leg stump, so you could just kick it away and you couldn't be out LBW.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was a something like that with Dermot Reeve. I think I can't remember if he was playing against Hampshire, but it was a county match where Dermot ended up throwing
Yeah, throwing
his
the bat.
outside.
That's right.
Well, and that caused a lot of controversy.
Well, I thought Dermot was okay, really. We've had this before, because he was switching round, and then it was a question whether he threw his bat in the direction of one of the fielders, in which case he was obstructing the field or something.
Right.
Yes.
And Dermot got a lot of flack, but I thought it was perfectly rational what he was trying to do.
But if you're throwing your bat, I mean, you're supposed to hold your bat, hold on to it. I mean,
Okay.
you play the game within not only just the laws, but the spirit.
Yes.
And throwing your bat at the ball is not really in the spirit of...
Right, now here's an interesting one, and I must admit, I've interested to hear the answer to this. Ryan's sailing in Plymouth, but not that Plymouth, Michigan, USA.
USA are busy today.
In the recent T20 World Cup final, there was a moment that was part of the brilliance of a finals match, but left an interpretation of a rule in question for me, he says. In the 20th over, South Africa's David Miller flogged a wide full toss down the ground. It was brilliantly taken on the boundary edge by Suryakumar Yadav, if you remember. Yadav took the catch in bounds, within the boundary, and his momentum, trying to tiptoe the rope, carried him out of the field of play. But before he left the field of play, he did toss the ball in the air. Mm-hmm. And as he re-entered the field of play, he took the catch. Mm-hmm. As he jumped back in the field of play, he caught the ball before he had landed back in play. Ryan says, I thought that prior to retaking a catch, you had to re-establish yourself back inside the boundary prior to touching the ball. Please help this uniformed American group, though, as he says, with Rule 19.1 and the boundary. It's been bothering me since the T20 World Cup final. So his last contact with the ground was outside the field of play. Mm-hmm. Is the boundary a vertical thing that you can leap back into without actually grounding yourself within the...
That is a grey area really in the laws, as that's a grey area in the laws, because he's supposed to re-enter the field of play.
Yes.
And the field of play is not in the air. The field of play is on the ground.
It is.
So he should actually land back on the field and then catch the ball, not catch it while he's in the air.
It was spectacular. I remember watching it, but that was So he wasn't back in again. He was,
strictly speaking, he was still off the field of play.
Thank you, Ryan. Very good question.
I've got one from David Cuthbert. It won't happen this very often, perhaps in first-class cricket, but it does happen quite frequently, I think. It says, recently, after standing at square leg for my son's under-15 team, the bowler bowled a ball that bounced very short and bounced again. It bounced at least twice and almost certainly a third time. The batsman hit the ball and was caught out. The umpire looked at me. I said, 2 bounces, not out. Was I correct?
The ball has got to bounce more.
Can you be out after the ball's bounced twice?
After the second bounce, it should be called no ball.
Okay, so that is the clarity.
End of that.
Yeah. But it happens quite. It may not happen at first class level very often, but that sort of thing would happen in under 10 cricket quite often.
Yeah, junior cricket.
So you can only be caught out if it's on the first bounce. If it's bounced twice, you can't be
called
caught
no
out.
Ball. Ball bounces.
So you call no ball, but can the batsman still score off it?
Yeah, the ball is still live.
The ball is still live, but you can't be caught.
No, you can't. No. If it's a no ball, you can't be caught.
Okay.
You can. The only way you can be out off a run out, off a no ball is
run out.
Apart from obstruction and so on, is run out, attempting a run.
Okay.
Can't be caught.
Thank you.
Duncan Beavis in Coventry, hello, a Warwickshire League panel umpire. This happened in a recent Warwickshire Premier League match. The batsman attempted a reverse pull stroke sweep. Mm-hmm. The ball bounced higher than he expected and hit the bat near the handle. But playing this shot, imagine a horizontal shot. Mm-hmm. In the follow-through, the batsman accidentally connected perfectly with the ball a second time. Boom, boom. So it went fizzing over gully for 6. So you imagine the scenario. So mistimed, bang. The fielding side wasn't happy and claimed it was a double hit. And the 6 should not be allowed. My colleague and I called dead ball to discuss what had happened. It was obviously a regular test match. We called dead ball to discuss it. What is the correct decision? We decided on dead ball, runs not to count, and the ball to count as 1 for the over.
No way. 6 runs. 6 runs. I mean, it wasn't a deliberate. It's just
bum, bum, bum.
accidental.
Yeah.
6 runs.
Bum, bum.
End of.
Go for 6.
And the ball counts as the ball.
Wow.
So is the deliberate thing a key factor?
It's got to be seen by the umpires to be intentional. But of
Before
one
you-
swing,
Yeah.
just luck.
So you couldn't, as a batsman, kind of kick the ball up in the air
No.
and then swat it for 6.
No, absolutely not.
No. But if they've ruled it as 1 for the over, for height, I guess, on this, I don't know, then that would still, they should have still called it 1 for
Yes, if it's kind of 1 for the over is fine, but
yes. So it should have been
6 runs.
and 1 for the over.
Yep.
Yeah, well, there you go. Thank you, Duncan.
Well, Paddy McMahon said this happened in our opening game of the season, Thornham versus Hadfield St Andrews. Our number 6 was going well, looking like he might win the game, when he hit one to long off and was caught. The opposition ran in to celebrate, and our batsman started to walk off. At this point, the square leg umpire made it evident that a no ball had been signalled due to there being 3 players behind square on the leg side. The batsman was halfway to the pavilion at the bowler's end. The ball was thrown into the wicketkeeper, removing the bells and, in quotes, running out the batsman, who thought he had been caught. The umpire gave the batsman run out. Would you have done so?
No.
No.
Once the umpire realises that the batsman is leaving his crease under a misapprehension,
Yeah.
he mustn't be given out.
Yeah.
That should not have been given out.
Yeah. I remember witnessing a game in Australia, a test match,
That's right.
when I think one of the Pakistan batsmen smashed the ball to square cover or something, was caught, walked off the pitch, was set off, and was then, run out in this fashion, and the umpire gave it out.
That happened in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
West Indies v Australia. Dean Jones played an attacking shot, was caught. Didn't hear the umpire didn't hear and Dean Jones didn't hear the no ball call either at the bowler's end, and the batsman. So he walks away and the fielder then who's caught the ball threw the ball in, and he was given run out. It was a run out.
And it was a mistake.
It was it should.
So the thing,
He thought he had been caught mid wicket. Didn't, so the no ball call wasn't heard.
Yeah.
So he left his ground, and the ball was thrown in to the keeper, who ran him out, and he was given out, and that should not have been given out.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks. That clarifies that. And it does happen. It's happened at the highest level.
Yes.
Now we know at least twice.
Yeah. I've got 2 here from Rob Dakin for you to adjudicate on, John. Firstly, he says, when I was at school, I was bowling very slow left-arm spin. My best over was a triple wicket maiden, but it could have been 4, but for an umpiring question.
Okay.
Rob says I was ripping it sideways, the only time I've ever really got big spin. I pushed the 5th ball of the over a little wider. It pitched outside the white lines, marking the edges of the pitch, about 3 yards short of the crease. The umpire signalled wide before the ball pitched, and the batsman shouldered arms. The ball pitched, bit, and took the leg stump. I appealed, and the umpire shrugged and gave it out, but the batsman refused to walk. And the umpire, a teacher, agreed with him. The ball was dead as soon as it was signalled wide. He went next ball to one much tighter, caught and bowled. But did I have him earlier? And would the wide stand, therefore spoiling the maiden?
The umpire there actually, instead of waiting until the ball had passed the striker, called wide early.
Yes.
You're supposed to let the ball pass the striker before, but he should look. If the ball has pitched outside the pitch is 10 feet wide. If the ball pitches outside the 10 foot, it's a no ball.
Correct.
Even though it hits the stumps, ultimately
It's a no ball because
Okay.
you're not supposed to. The ball should be pitched on that 22 yard by 10 feet wide
All right.
area. The ball should be supposed to be pitched on that, not on.
So, in fact, they got the right decision, although it should have been a no ball.
That's right.
And so it wasn't a maiden over.
That's right.
So, yeah,
And it's
so it
not,
wouldn't have been.
not a wicket.
The second one, Rob writes, this is his last game in Yorkshire Village cricket. On FA Cup final day, we had 5 players versus a full 11. Our captain refused balancing the sides, won the toss and chose to bowl. After 40 overs in the field, I tore my calf muscle and went in to bat last. The bowler was sending down relatively slow medium pace, straight down the middle. And I got bat on each of the first 3, but I couldn't get anything past the very close field. Everyone bar the keeper was in front of the bat. The 4th ball, he tried to get more pace on it and it came directly at me. I stepped across the stumps and the ball caught the back of my trousers as it went past. My partner called me through and I slowly limped a single while the fielders trotted off to retrieve the ball from the outfield. The umpire signalled a leg by, but the opposition captain demanded I return and the run be struck from the books. I looked at our captain, who was umpiring at square leg, and he concurred. Next over, my partner fell first ball and the innings was over. I was unable to play for the rest of the year while my leg recovered. How should the umpire at the bowler's end have ruled? Bearing in mind this is village cricket, and the umpire was a youngish lad. I can understand him deferring to the 2 captains, but was he wrong to give the leg by? There's one vital thing in here that he's omitted to say, in my view. John?
So tell me, let me go through this again.
Yeah.
The delivery, the ball is bowled,
Medium pace delivery.
and the batsman.
It says here, in his words, stepped across the stumps and the
Right.
ball caught the back of his trousers.
Right, that's a leg by. I mean, presumably he's in the process of playing a stroke.
That's the point. It doesn't say here,
Right.
in my interpretation, it doesn't say here whether he played a shot or not.
Well, if he hasn't played a shot, then it's dead ball.
Correct.
Immediately dead ball.
And the run should be struck from
That's
the
right.
books.
And the only exception to that is, if I'm right, is if you're taking evasive action.
If you take an evasive action,
You can
yes.
have the leg by.
That's right.
So I think we need a bit more detail, Rob,
Yeah.
sadly, on whether you're actually playing a shot with your
Or not.
strained calf muscle
Correct.
or not. Because if you weren't playing a shot, then the youngish lad was absolutely spot on.
Correct.
This one's from Greg Arand. What is the law on a captain placing a fielder behind the bowler for a straight hit, i.e. between mid-off and mid-on? I tried doing this in a recent league match and was informed by the umpire that this was not permitted as the fielder was in front of the sight screen behind the bowler's arm. So
Well-
can you station someone right in front of the sight screen?
But you can, but that person mustn't move because because he could be a distraction for the striker. If he's standing behind the umpire and moving around as the batsman is in the process
But
of
how are you going to
receiving.
know that?
Well, that's you've got
You're a
a
square leg umpire. I
you've got a
suppose.
colleague.
Yeah, you need your mate.
That's why umpiring is always about 2 men working together.
Because I mean, when I was in playing under 10 cricket, OBH was the standard fielding position over the bowler's head, especially if you bowl like I did. In fact, it's come back. That position has come back.
Stokes
In some of these,
has used it.
they stick someone not long off or long on, but
Yeah.
right behind, and sort of try and covering all options.
Stokes
don't
used
they?
it in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Quite a lot, actually.
So it's up in that situation. Then it's permitted, but the square leg umpire has to keep an eye on the fact that this bloke is not trying to distract
The
batsman.
striker. Absolutely, because that is
Yeah.
a possibility.
If the batsman said, "I want him moved," what about that?
But if he wants to have him moved, and again you're going to confer with your colleague,
Yeah.
and if in your opinion he's causing a distraction from being there, yes, you tell the captain he can't stay there.
Okay. Right. That's good. Thank you.
Here's one from Charles, which is a good question because it does happen a lot, this, and we see it, and it could happen today. Fielding on the boundary edge is getting ever more critical to the outcomes of matches. With the use of TV replays to seek evidence for fair decisions, how should umpires treat the position of the boundary when it's been moved by a fielder from a previous dive or similar incident? We see it a lot. You see the boundary rope, or the sort of the sponge, as we call it here, moved, either knocked deeper or perhaps a little closer. How does the umpire treat that boundary when the actual rope itself has been moved?
I mean, if you, it depends on if you've seen as from where you and your colleague are, if you realise that the boundary has been significantly moved. But sometimes the boundary may get moved by a foot, and you just leave it as it is.
As it is.
But you would hope that the fielder who has knocked it out of position, when he gets up and realises that, he would try and push it back somewhere close to where it was before.
Yes. Otherwise, you take the original line, don't you?
That's right.
Yes, and you try and work off that.
That's right.
We've got an email from Russell in Devon. You can see there, actually, just... I can read it. In a recent women's professional domestic game, a batter was given out caught in the wicketkeeper's helmet grill. And the batter had edged it. Was this correct? So can you get caught if the ball lodges in the grill of the helmet?
Well, the helmet is part of the wicketkeeper's equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So the ball can be caught in the helmet.
Okay.
The keeper.
So the umpire got it right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they generally do.
I got a similar one. Here we are from John Reynolds. We've seen this happen a few times. In a recent televised match, there was a stumping where the ball rebounded from the wicketkeeper's chest and broke the wicket. I thought the wicketkeeper had to be in control of the ball to make a stumping, says John.
No, the ball can rebound from any part of the wicketkeeper's person or equipment.
Pads
and
quite
hit
often.
the wicket, and yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
This thing about being in control is for fielders in the outfield.
Taking a catch.
Yeah, taking a catch.
Has to be in control of the ball and its further movement.
That's right.
Okay, this is from Eugene Johnson. I was bowling and the batsman attempted to cut the ball, which went very high and not very far. The gully fielder trotted in, took the catch. The batsman... he trotted in order to take the catch. The batsman ran towards the fielder and screamed, "Drop it!" And the fielder duly did drop it. So I appealed on the grounds of obstructing the field.
Yep.
He was given not out, and the umpire criticised me for making a frivolous appeal. Who was right? So the fielders yelled, "Drop
He should have
it!"
been given out for obstruction.
Obstruction.
He had no right to do what he did.
Okay, so he's
That
got to
is
go.
obstruction. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, so don't try that again.
And the penalty runs.
And penalty runs.
Absolutely, it's obstruction.
Hit him, yeah.
So that's
It's deliberate.
okay.
Yeah, there you are. No messing, no arguing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never remember you being as tough as this out on the field, John.
But it didn't-
Well, that's because we were all so gentle with
That sort of
him.
nonsense didn't happen.
we never used to question
No.
anything he said.
No. Peter French played in a game recently where a large brick wall forms part of the boundary. I was bowling, says Peter, and the batsman whacked it towards the wall, but our fielder stopped it, and the ball bounced along the line but didn't touch the wall. So imagine that paint, I guess, is just right inside the line of the wall. It was all very confusing. The umpire signalled 4, but the fielder threw it back to me after a lot of kerfuffle, where the fielder said it hadn't hit the wall. The ball was returned to me over the stumps. The batsman was halfway down the pitch because he thought it was 4. But technically, I ran him out because the umpire revised the shot to an all-run 2, but he didn't give the run out. Who's correct?
So the umpire initially, the fielder left the striker, the batsman left his position at the wicket because he thought it was a boundary.
Yes.
The umpire had signalled that for? Had the umpire signalled?
The umpire signalled 4.
Not
That's
out.
it, dead ball.
No run out.
Yeah. Thinking Ian Bell at Warwickshire. Similar thing, wasn't it?
Well, the match was at Trent Bridge, wasn't it?
That's
Against
right, test
India.
match.
That's right.
But the umpire had not signalled 4.
It was a Trent Bridge, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Belly left his...
He thought the ball had gone for 4.
And
And he walked off for
That's
tea.
right, that's right.
And he was
That's right.
given out.
Yeah.
And then they had a great sort of tea time
It's called
meeting.
statesmanship.
Statesmanship.
Yeah.
So the umpires would have been involved there.
The umpires actually could have insisted that the original decision of run out stood.
Right.
Because
He was run out.
that was just a nonsense. I mean, there was a lot of kerfuffle about what had happened. The reality is that Belly had a bit of a blackout and left his position, left the crease, not knowing if the ball had
Gone for 4.
gone for 4.
Yeah.
So he was wrong.
He walked off for tee,
Yeah,
basically.
he can't do that.
And they must have had a kerfuffle, or not a kerfuffle, a meeting, and in a way, very graciously, the Indians
Well, I
must have withdrawn
I
the appeal.
understood that Tendulkar was there, and Tendulkar was one of the people who encouraged Dhoni and company to reverse the decision, to ask the umpires to reverse the decision.
Okay.
So it's a bit
Oddly
of
enough,
gamesmanship.
if that hadn't happened on the cusp of tea, he'd have been out, wouldn't he?
Yes.
That's it. The umpires are coming in.
Oh, right. Okay. John,
fly.
I think he's come out with flying colours again against all the odds.
You have. Well done, John. Did you enjoy that?
Indeed.
Of course he does. He's got a big smile. Thanks for coming. Thanks to all of you for all your questions. There's actually, Victor, there's a fair old.
We couldn't get through them all.
No, and it is a lovely segment, and I don't think we'll get another one penciled. We have got another one at Old Trafford. The next Test match. Indeed. John's back. It's a home game for him. So that's really nice. So you've got advance notice that for the next Test match, the first Test match against Sri Lanka at Old Trafford, we're doing it all again.